Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video with my face on it. That's right. Today, we're gonna do something that I haven't done in a while, and I like to do it every now and then. It's just simply, openly, and positively, talk about what's happening in Total War, the franchise, the current games, the future games that might be currently being developed, how the community is feeling, community sentiment, I think is important to talk a little bit about as well. The reaction, the response people have been having with Creative Assembly, the patches that have been released for Warhammer 3, the latest announcement, of course, that we're going to get into, and of course, some other bits of news. And, you can agree or disagree with that, whatever I'm talking about today, and that's totally fine. Just, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you have any questions as well, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, where we're just having an honest two-way street conversation about the state of things. So first thing I want to talk about, of course, is MELKOR, guys, is back. If you don't know who MELKOR is, he's a content creator for Total War who has been here for a long time, and he's always mostly made videos about original Rome Total War, medieval to Rome remastered. He's played them, he's made mods for them, he's spotlighted mods for them, he's done news videos and kind of speculative videos, and he's a great, genuine, fun guy who makes really great pieces of content, videos, live streams. So if you don't know who he is, I've dropped a link below to his channel in the video description. Definitely check him out. Give him a little subscribe, like, comment, support, because he's taken about a year off, I think, from creating content, and he's recently come back, and he's just started making some videos and doing some live stream campaigns as well, and it's great to see. He was personally, for me, alongside a few other creators, Simpsy, Lionheart, Legend, and officially Devon, people like that, and MELKOR have been inspirations for me over the years. They and a lot of others have inspired me to create my own channel, and do my own content. So it's great to see MELKOR come back. If you're watching, MELKOR, welcome back, my man. And then the other thing I want to talk about, of course, is the latest announcement from Creative Assembly, basically saying they're going to be making another future announcement about what their newest games are going to be. So we know that the company is working on a new historical Total War and a new fantasy Total War. And, the rumor mills have been churning for the last 6 months about what they might be. On the fantasy side, of course, there's 40K is very possible. There's Age of Sigmar. Not as interested as the other potentials, of course, for me personally. If you are, that's great. I think 40K is a little more out there about how they could adapt that kind of warfare into the Total War formula across space, multiple planets. The scale of it is kind of there. It's just a very different kind of way of doing Total War. I think they would have to do some innovation to make it fit. And Age of Sigmar, I think, for me, it's always sounded like a very easy win, basically a bit of a continuation to the Warhammer trilogy, but sort of like a prequel to it, essentially, which could work, definitely. The other alternative is Star Wars, also been in the rumor mill, which, I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I would love to see it happen. I've played most, if not all, the strategy games for Star Wars. I remember Galactic Battlegrounds, and of course, the peak of Star Wars strategy, which was Empire at War and Forces of Corruption, the expansion. Brilliant games, lots of fantastic ground battles, the space battles, signature, iconic space battles, and the campaign, conquering planets, sending heroes, espionage, stealing technology, dealing with the Hutts. The campaign storyline was great fun. That is a great couple of games right there, Empire at War. So to see Creative Assembly try and adapt that into Total War with the potential scale of battles, imagine Genosha. There's just so much that can be done there in the Clone Wars. So yeah, that excites me, basically. I can see Star Wars being quite a fun Total War game to play, but again, as I said, with 40K, there's a lot that I think would have to adapt from a Total War campaign perspective, especially. How would you do the economy system? How would diplomacy work? How would playable factions work? I mean, you've got a very limited number of of factions in the Star Wars universe. Not that limited, but like that I think people would be interested in. So it would be interesting to see how CA tackles that, and the battle side of things as well. I mean, Empire at War is a good blueprint for that. So I think if they do that, I'd be pretty happy with it, basically. A modern Empire at War on the battle side of things. But that's the fantasy kind of sci-fi side. What about the historical side? Of course, that's kind of the main event here, right? So we've got World War I as a potential game, of course, which I have mixed feelings about. You know, on the battle side of things, World War I can be quite interesting. Trench warfare and the progression of phases of battles, destruction across the battlefield, the impact of artillery, smoke barrages, you know, long range impact, the spectacle of that, the different types of troops you can have from various countries. Like the main example I usually give is Great War of the Western Front, a great interesting look into how World War I could work in a strategy game format, and it works really well in my opinion. I think it's a great game to play, the World War I battles that it does. It's really well done. The problem is the campaign, right? So World War I is very strict, rigid. There aren't many playable, you know, I wouldn't imagine there are many playable factions in that kind of scenario. How would you do diplomacy, really? Would you maybe negotiate over certain regions, or you know, reparations, or I don't know. I can't really imagine how diplomacy might be like in a World War I game. There are other elements, mechanics that could work quite well: espionage, tech development, you know, economic management and development of various regions and cities, and industry, and how that feeds into the military side of things as well. There's a lot that can be done, I think, from those angles, but it's just it would go out of the Total War formula of campaigning by a lot, I think. Yeah, so I don't really see World War I working that well on the campaign side of things. And then, of course, on the other hand, you've got Medieval 3 and Empire 2. You have to talk about that. You know, a lot of people have been talking about it for long time. And, you know, there's a camp of we'd like it done, whatever, just do it. Which, you know, fair enough. I mean, we've had 8 years of Warhammer games. So to see a major game like Empire 2 or Medieval 3 is ticking some boxes for a lot of people, definitely. But then you have another camp that's very cynical and very pessimistic. You know, CA of late haven't performed that well with their historical titles. A lot of the devs from the original games have moved on, so like, can they really do it? You know, are they capable of making decent games out of Empire 2 and Medieval 3? People have been requesting this for so long. The pressure has built up a lot around what these games can be like. And I think that especially with how recent years have gone, there are a decent number of people who have walked away from the franchise and said, you know what, this isn't good enough. I don't believe it can be done. I don't think it can be done justice anymore. Whatever happens, I think CA will screw it up. So I just can't invest myself in this any longer and move on to other games. There are lots of people like that. You know, current historical games, Empire, Attila, Rome 2, etc. These games have seen lower numbers over the years as well. Mods have come out that have not gained as much popularity as they could have. You see also across YouTube and generally, you know, content viewership for historical games have gone down as well. So they're just people that are not as interested in the games that have, you know, come out of the franchise, and their mods. And of course, what CA might come out with next. There isn't as much enthusiasm. So there is a lot of pressure riding on it when you say, you know, Medieval 3, Empire 2, but there's also a lot of cynicism and a lack of pressure, a lack of expectation, rather. You know, like it's not so much open-mindedness, it's ambivalence. You know, whatever comes. If it's great, if it's good, like that's fine. But if it's bad, then it's just more of the same. You know, more of the normal, consistently CA kind of experience of releasing a game that isn't quite there, it isn't finished, or it's too pricey. There's bits of content that don't make sense, etc., and you don't like it, and waiting a year or two until maybe you pick it up on a sale and see how it is, and maybe they fixed it. That's kind of the development ethos of how things have been going with the latest games, especially in the last few years. Three Kingdoms is the exception here, by the way. I just have to mention that. Of course, you have to mention Three Kingdoms. So yeah, that's kind of how I think the state of the franchise is, how people feel, where the future is going to go. This announcement was made not too long ago, earlier this week, and I would guess that a new game is going to be announced sometime in the spring, February, March. And you know, they've just got the green light from people to say you can tell people now that we're developing this. March, Feb, April, a game is announced, and a release of maybe September, October, essentially, is what I would say. So yeah, anything goes. You know, it's important to be a bit more ambivalent, I think. Keep expectations low. You know, CA goes through cycles. We've gone through a bit of a trough in terms of Hyena's canceled, Warhammer 3 having a pretty low development cycle in its DLCs, bad launch, Pharaoh having a bad launch, and then Dynasties kind of recouping a lot of that as well, despite, of course, in my opinion, like I've said, not going far enough to be a decent historical game, especially on the battle side of things. So yeah, it's just like, you know, why be invested in these things? Better to just take a step back, be ambivalent, have no expectations for what might come next, and be either pleasantly surprised or not disappointed, because it's just more of the same. So yeah, that's the state of the franchise, the community, what might come next. In terms of also, I just want to mention mods. You know, a lot of people ask me, how is Dauntless Days going? How is Medieval Kingdoms 1212 going? You know, what's next for DEI? Lots of questions about what might be coming for all of these mods. I can tell you, you know, Dauntless Days is working very hard on its campaign. They're opening up testing for people to go in and test the balance and playability of the current iteration of the campaign for Attila on Dauntless Days. MK1212, we know they're working on expanding the map, adding new regions, fixing up the last of some of these unit rosters, and actually beyond that, completely converting all of the settlements on the campaign to proper medieval siege maps, right? So that's a big effort that's currently ongoing as well. So there's a lot happening there. When it's going to come out, I have no idea, guys. It could be a month from now, it could be 6 months from now. I have no idea. I just know that they're working on it. There are modders going through the motions, and you know, modders come in and out of these projects, right? So there will always be moments of lots of progress and then moments of lulls, and there isn't a lot of progress going on. Summertime isn't a great time for mods either. Generally people go on holiday, or you know, taking a hiatus from modding to do this. Now that we're coming into winter, you'll probably see a lot more modding news coming out as well, especially out of Dauntless Days and MK1212, hopefully. Anyway, DEI, I know there's a new update coming out for that very soon. Some new updates to various faction unit rosters, unit reskinning. That's as much as I know. I think they're also working on, just as they did for the Rise of the Republic campaign DLC, working on updating a new campaign DLC as well. I think it's don't quote me, but I want to say it's Empire Divided. I'm not sure which one it is, but yeah, they're working on a different campaign to rebalance and rejig DEI style as well, so that should be coming soon. We know that the Anno Domini team are still working on getting their 1051 AD mod ramped up and more complete. I should be making a video on that very soon. There are a couple new mods on Attila as well. There's a 976 AD mod that basically is a again, a medieval mod that is a new kind of setting, new start positions, etc. There's a mod that is porting over all of the Age of Charlemagne start positions, factions, unit rosters, mechanics over as well. So it's an Age of Charlemagne campaign on the Grand Campaign map, which should be interesting. There's also a Victorian era mod being developed for Age of Charlemagne on Attila, which I saw recently. These guys are early in development, but I'll make a video on that very soon as well. So yeah, lots of other news coming out of the modding community for other games as well. 1100 AD came out with the Mongol invasion mod for 1177. There are mods being ported over for Rome Remastered. I'm going to be covering in a video soon. Yeah, lots of interesting news coming out of modding as well. I'll be covering all of that in new videos over the next coming weeks. But yeah, so that's essentially it for today, guys. Just wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, a bit of an open conversation like this about where Total War is, the franchise, how Creative Assembly is, you know, what they're working on, what they might be working on, that we will probably hear more about over the next 6 months. MELKOR coming back, which is a great thing to see, modding news as well. And yeah, just my thoughts and feelings about it all. This is a two-way street though. So I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree with anything I've said here. What do you think about the state of the franchise, the community, where things might go next as well? Please do let me know in the comment section below. I always read them. I always try and comment as much as I can. And subscribe for more videos just like this if you enjoyed it, and the usual kind of videos as well. I'll be doing live streams again next week for new campaigns, more modding news coming, and lots of others, and Manor Lords if you enjoy Manor Lords as well. Thank you for watching, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.